Hi, today's video is very short and simple because it's the one thing I forgot to include in the previous video, and it's also a day late. Sorry, I was very, very tired, and what's been happening lately, which is very exciting. But anyways, the one thing I forgot to mention is, first of all, go watch the previous Will to Live hypothesis video, because otherwise this won't make sense. Um, with my old hypothesis, this idea of it being like a rock solid bedrock foundation that doesn't need anything, the will to live not needing anything is something that can stand on its own, upon which everything else in life can be built. Um, Being the old hypothesis. And then the new hypothesis being like, well, what if it's more like a tree? What if it needs nutrition in the soil, it needs sunlight, it needs rainwater, it needs to be a part of a greater ecosystem? What if it needs like food, water, sunlight, socialization? See, this is where I'm switching the metaphor from like things that a plant needs to things that a human needs. We need exercise, we need meaningful conversations, we need um, purpose in our day to day. We need enjoyment. We need learning. Personally, I find fascinating to explore like what do we enjoy and why do we enjoy it, um, which is like game theory, balancing luck and skill so something doesn't feel too challenging or too easy, um, finding milestones of achievement, those sorts of things. And the key difference that I had neglected to mention um, was that with the old model, the bedrock, rock solid foundation, rugged individualism doesn't need anything. It either you have it or you don't. You cannot slowly lose it or cultivate it. And I was searching for it. I was digging, tearing my mind apart, ripping up all the dirt, rather than building my life, my building on dirt, and then it's gonna settle and get all wonky and weird, and then you have people have their midlife crisis and all that garbage. I was like, let me just rip everything up, dig up all the roots, all the dirt, everything, get down to bedrock, and find that will to live down there, figure it out, maybe even get to the bottom of the world, so to speak, in my mind, and make a bedrock. I don't know. As opposed to the new model, suddenly everything is relevant to the will to live. Everything. There's all the awful, horrible experiences of existence that wear it down, and then there's all the wonderful, good experiences of the world that can nourish it. And so suddenly everything is relevant. Your daily habits, your friendships, your nutrition, uh, your health, your your job, your childhood wounding, your psychology, your spirituality, your beliefs, your experiences, your hopes and dreams, your fears, everything suddenly is relevant. Which, on first thought, appears very daunting because now you're no longer dealing with just this one will to live thing and building upon that later. You're dealing with literally everything in all of existence. So it seems a little bit overwhelming. But if you really think about it, it's actually easier because you're not taking on this one monumental, seemingly impossible challenge that I've been fighting for my entire life with zero progress. I'm taking on one thing at a time, incremental growth, just like with a tree. You want consistency, not intensity. All plants. You don't want a flood of water that's going to drown it. You want little bits of water consistently and nurture it back to health. So that's the new hypothesis. That's the one piece of it that I forgot to mention in the previous video. That I felt was important enough to expand upon in a separate video. Question everything.